Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Pigbot taking on 49Terrapins, not 48, not 50, 49. Here on Persephone in another 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And this is one that I'm very excited for, as a PvP between two bots that are not as known to me, so I really have no idea how this game is going to go. I do know that Pigbot has had a lot of work put into it and has a lot of depth, so I'm excited to see if we'll get to see some of that. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. If we can get, 49 likes for 49Terrapins, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, if you're a bot author and you want to get your bot cast, feel free to send me the replay to take a look at. And yeah, also, if you're someone who is perhaps an aspiring bot author, check out AIarena.net, or you can also check out versusai.net, which is where Drekken, the creator of Pigbot, posts lots of good content about creating bots and the process and learning. And yes, so both of these bots, I believe, have scouted out. Pigbots is a little bit later. It's just, well, it scouted out its natural, and then it sent one across the map. Meanwhile, 49Terrapins just scouting around. So we're seeing two bots with pretty good scouting behavior. We're getting a PvP build from 49Terrapins. Pigbot is a little bit wide open here for the PvP matchup, as it does have those gateways not forming a wall, so it could be susceptible to adepts, but so far we're not seeing that, as 49Terrapins has gone for a quick Nexus, actually delaying its second Stalker. Notably as well, 49Terrapins not having speed mining enabled. Oh no, it is, pardon me. I guess I just wasn't seeing the little clicks there for a moment. Yes, it is speed mining, so that is good to see. Apparently I need to get my eyes checked. But yes, so that does mean these bots have a little more income than humans, which does mean that the timings can be a little bit different, say like a quicker Nexus, something like that, without having to cut as much production. As far as the worker count goes, Pigbot has been a little bit more consistent on that, I guess, as it is up to 27 workers versus the 24 of 49Terrapins. Both of these bots have lost a worker, but man, oh man, we're already getting to some stalkers skirmishing here as these two battle it out. It looks like Pigbot really gets the jump on this. I actually want to do a rare rewind here and catch the start of this fight. I'm not used to two bots just having a clash this early on with just a handful of units, but here we go. PvP action as those two stalkers do engage each other. Pigbot's micro pretty darn good. Both of these bots microing, but the target fire works out better for Pigbot. 49Terrapins, one of its stalkers kind of fell asleep for a moment there, and that costs it heavily, losing 2 units for none. Now, 49Terrapins does have another stalker out. It can potentially just one-tap these as well. How well will it do? It gets one, and does it get a second? Yes, it does. So that's a very important cleanup for 49Terrapins. Pigbot kind of overstaying its welcome with those stalkers a little bit, but you never know. In bot games, aggression is generally a good idea. At least I think so in the very early game, because you're not just going to be like, your opponent's not going to have a rock-solid defense in the early game. Now, this one stalker moving across the map, we'll see if it goes on in or if it just runs for its life. It is doing a fighting retreat, but that will not work out in a 3v1, so Pigbot does donate another stalker there. Now, behind this, we do have a very respectful PvP, though, with 2 Nexus up for each bot, a Robo going up for each bot as well. Currently, 49Terrapins has a much larger army than Pigbot. Pigbot just does a Stalker Warpin inside its main base. Notably, that was a slow Warpin. Could have been a quicker one by the pylon, not something that's important in this case, but maybe it could be important in another case. And yeah, then we do have 49 Terrapins just building stalkers. It doesn't have warp gate research, so that is something that Pigbot has programmed into it, whereas it seems 49 Terrapins may not. That is something that not every Protoss bot has, and you don't necessarily need, but warp gates are a little bit more efficient, I believe. I've never seen any outside confirmation. I've just looked at the timings for unit warp-ins, and I'm like, I think it works out to be more efficient, and I genuinely don't know if my comment earlier would be an efficiency thing about just the slow warp-in versus the quick warp-in. If you're truly trying to maximize your warp-ins, like, does the cooldown on the gateways start? I can't actually see through this, but I believe that probably resets the cooldown quicker if you do a quicker stalker warp-in, because I think the cooldown's... No, it starts as soon as you start the warp-in, so I guess it doesn't matter, right? Anyway, now Pigbot trying to get aggressive again. However, it's heavily outnumbered taking this fight, so it does give up a couple more stalkers. Not a couple, it loses 4, and that is very painful. So Pigbot not necessarily deciding whether it's a good idea to engage, just going for the engagement. Fortunately, 49 Terrapins is chilling back at home, waiting for something. Looks like it wants a third base. It's not focused on attacking. We do get an observer out for Pigbot. That's very nice. However, unfortunately, it does go down as 49 Terrapins' own observer shows up there. That's quite painful. I do recall watching Drekken program his observer behavior, and there's a lot of nuance that goes into that to ensure good observer scouting and just making sure they're where they need to be. Notably, Chrono Boost is consistently being used here by Pigbot. I'm a big fan of that from Protoss bots. It's a resource that you don't want to let pile up too much, and 49 Terrapins is doing that well as well. Now, both bots are getting up a third base. Pigbot is maybe teching a little bit further, as it tends to do, getting these high-tech units. It's got a Disruptor on the way. It's got a High Templar out, and that High Templar is moving across the map. That's not the move, buddy. He's gonna try it. Very bold for a High Templar without Psystorm, but ever since they got that 4 damage auto attack, they've been too big for their britches. Thankfully, the High Templar does turn around, so I'm glad to see that. There is another one warping on in, and then there is a Immortal on the way as well. Immortals are pretty much the most important unit in PvP, but 49 Terrapins army, while not having Immortals, is going to be very scary, as it's just getting a ton of Zealots. And I'm wondering whether we're going to reach a point where 49 Terrapins will potentially counterattack, or if it's just going to wait till 200 supply. That's a very realistic marker for a lot of bots, as bot authors do just say, hey, yeah, just get to 200 supply and then go to town, whereas there's a lot more sort of nuance and decision making if you decide to program differently. For example, you can just have conditions, say, hey, I've got 10 Marines, it's time to attack. That definitely works for like early game rushes, that kind of thing. But then when, say, if your bot gets into wacky situations or something, you don't want to just be attacking with 10 Marines over and over and over again in a prolonged game. Now, we do see 49 Terrapins army consistently blocking this pylon going down, so it might actually get a little supply blocked as a result of this. That's quite unfortunate. Look at that. The total D-bag army in the way, just blocking the construction worker. Now, Pigbot is getting aggressive once again with a very small army. There's a Disruptor there. It's going to fire a Nova, but it gets killed before that occurs. The Colossi is doing a good job kiting. The Immortals trying to kite as well. But this is just Pigbot being a little overconfident here, and it's very sad to see these high-tech units being donated. It really does highlight the challenges of programming, though. Otherwise, we would probably just have a pretty boring game on our hands if Pigbot wasn't attacking, but at the same time, that might have been the best decision for it. It's got High Templar moving across the map, although, there we go, making Archons out of them, which is nice to see that behavior working. And then, yeah, just like Pigbot's making really good units. It just needs to build up a little bit more. For now, 49 Terrapins just chilling. I think we are just going to have to wait till it hits 200 supply to get aggressive. If we take a look at the resources, we can tell that Pigbot is building perhaps a very heavy gas army. And that's the kind of units it's been building. It's got enough minerals that if it wanted to, it could produce 37 zealots right now, and that number is increasing as it's just heavily bottlenecked by its gas. But that is something that you have to decide as a bot author and handle is resource management. You don't want to be floating money in StarCraft 2. It's one of those things. In real life, a big bank account's good. In StarCraft 2, if you're not maxed out, a big bank account is not good. It's much better to have units, generally. And yeah, it's 49Terrapins gets it, almost having the inverse problem as it's now over-zealoted and under-teched with a ridiculous, oh my gosh, 37 zealots with more on the way. Still no warp gate either, just producing them the old-fashioned way. And then we're getting more nexus, more gateways, so good scaling from 49Terrapins. Pigbot, meanwhile, has 2 robos going. It's producing these High Templars still. So just going with this incredibly gas-heavy composition, just High Templars into Archons. It would be better to make DTs into Archons, then at least it would have less of a mineral bank and have a bit more gas to spend. But yeah, it's looking like a very beefy army, and it is good to see that Pigbot eventually did decide to not attack. It has given that up, which is important because I think given time, which it's definitely being given right now, like 49Terrapins is not attacking. It is just chilling. It says, I want to take the entire map. Give it all to me, as its army's now moving around. But yeah, the window for these zealots being good is not going to be a big one. We're also notably getting 4 nexus, no forges, anything like that. 49Terrapins, I think it was just trying to build a nexus on its nexus. That's how expansion crazy it is in this game. Yes, but we have already passed the window in which 49Terrapins should have attacked. It's giving Pigbot a lot of time, and so this video is just a really great example of the challenges of programming a bot, knowing when it's time to attack. We saw earlier in the game, Pigbot attacked when it was too soon, 49Terrapins not attacking when it should be. So it's not that easy of a problem to fix, but presumably at some point there should be a battle. It might just be when Pigbot maxes out at this point because something is keeping 49Terrapins at home. I don't know what condition it could possibly be waiting for, maybe when it's got every nexus on the map, or it could just be broken. Usually at this point in a game, you'd want to see your opponent attack, so we might fast forward a little bit here. As Pigbot is actually starting to move out. It is maxed out. Notably, there's no forge upgrades for either bot, so it's not the end of the world for 49Terrapins. And look at all these charge lots. The charge lots are pretty good against the Immortals. They're okay against the Archons. Disruptors are getting thrown out as we have a ridiculous battle going on right now. And I'm not sure which bot's winning. Charge lots hunting down Immortals, doing pretty well at the same time. The Immortals and Archons do pretty good versus the Stalkers. Disruptors also firing. What a wacky engagement, but I think as far as resources lost, that was pretty good for 49Terrapins. All of a sudden, 49Terrapins wakes up and says, I need robos, as it builds 4 robos and a Stargate and a bunch of Stalkers, which goes to show that bots sometimes hang a little bit. 49Terrapins, it pulled its army back, but to where? Okay, the bottom right, I'm not sure why it's chosen this location. You got to get defending, man, as Pigbot is still pushing on in, and there's a very good disruptor connection from Pigbot. It's hitting this Nexus 2 with the Immortals. Units are all over the place. Probes are now transferring all over, thanks to 49Terrapins' ridiculous amount of just bases. We are potentially getting a fleet beacon. It's kind of getting blocked. It turns into a wall against this Archon. There's 49Terrapins waking up with its army, but it's kind of splitting its forces right now and not grouping up properly. If it was, I think it could probably clean up this army of Pigbot, but that's not happening right now. It's just producing more and more Stalkers. We're getting a fleet beacon. No carriers or anything like that yet. Pigbot, meanwhile, churning out Immortals, which are absolute Stalker killers. And then we take a look. Pigbot just continuously pushing forward right now. 49Terrapins now switching into Zealots, which is probably better against this composition. Notably, the longer this goes on, the better it should be for for 49 Terrapins because Pigbot has not got any more bases, so as soon it's going to run out of gas inside this main. The natural probably not too far behind, but Pigbot does have a bit of a death ball going on right now, so that's looking quite promising. I'm not sure what's going on with this group of 49 Terrapins army, but I think it definitely could have taken on Pigbot's army earlier. Now, not so much. Zealots are trying to get an Archon, and they do get one Archon, but that was a lot of dead Zealots. We're getting more and more probes being built. Stalkers being built now instead. 49 Terrapins has a ridiculous economy. We're even getting a probe battle as both teams are trying to mine from this base, and 49 Terrapins is trying to defend the Nexus with its probes. Pigbot having some very good behavior as its probes are mining, but this is a good example of just like what you should do every tick in a game of Starcraft 2, which I believe -0's author does very well, is just to basically have it so that if a unit's moving, it should always be attacking. So like basically just you can path to somewhere, but you should be issuing attack commands. So your unit is never caught out where it's just being attacked, basically, and not defending itself, or not shooting back anyway. 49 Terrapins is kind of folding here, though, as it is unable to deal with this bulk of Pigbot's army. It's got a good bank, but it's just in a probe death spiral now. It's losing all its production, which is definitely hurtful. And yes, I think that is probably going to be a victory here for Pigbot. It's going to have a lot of work to do to clean up these bases. Probes are still battling probes, so the violence never stops. But Pigbot's got a very big bank right now, and I think it should just win this game out eventually. Look at all those Immortals, 17 Immortals. That is probably the highest tech army I've ever seen in a bot game. Holy cow, that's a lot of Immortals, guys. But yes, a very slow death for 49 Terrapins. It's trying to rebuild production inside its main base, which again is a sign that is something that works probably in 99 out of 100 games, but occasionally in bot matches, you do lose your main base, and that causes just problems if your bot is only programmed to build structures inside its main. We do get some bots that sometimes rebuild successfully at expansions, but that's not happening in this case, and so I think that should secure it for Pigbot. Like, if 49 Terrapins was getting up more production somewhere else, I'd say, okay, maybe it could win, but I mean, killing one Immortal isn't going to cut it when Pigbot has this unholy sized bank, and yeah, just 49 Terrapins, a bit of a sleepy bot in this game. Stalkers trying to engage the Immortals. They're picking off some of the High Templar, which is nice, but there's nothing else going on for 49 Terrapins. Pigbot's just got to clean everything up. Maybe there's a world in which 49 Terrapins rebuilds inside its main base, but I'm not holding my breath as Pigbot seems to be pretty efficient here as far as moving around and cleaning up bases goes. Will 49 Terrapins rebuild? That's a good test for a bot. It looks like it does begin going through its tech tree again, but the lack of counterattacks, the lack of attacks period from 49 Terrapins really was a fatal flaw in this game. It is rebuilding a ton of gateways, getting up more pylons, and so it is trying to rebuild, but Pigbot should eventually get this one. A part of me doesn't want to build up hope, you know? Just like 49 Terrapins can rebuild. It can come back to life, but I don't think it's going to get that chance. Pigbot does eventually take another Nexus, one of these freed up bases, which is nice to see. And then it's still attacking this base with its one Archon. 49 Terrapins does resume Zealot production. What does it have for an army? Okay, it lost literally everything. So these Zealots are just popping on out. Who knows? Maybe it can make 87 Zealots and have a comeback, but I'm not holding my breath. And there we go. Pigbot comes on in. The Zealots not really engaging properly. They do actually get an Archon, so that's nice. We're trying to get tech structures overlapping here for 49 Terrapins. Pigbot's still moving around. Not re-clearing out the main base as far as Pigbot's concerned. Maybe the main is dead, although this Archon, nope, doesn't follow the probes. Yeah, just a very slow cleanup here. Four Robos being built for 49 Terrapins, Stargates and stuff, but then it never transitioned out of Zealots and Stalkers. Stay tuned for this one, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, because I am going to pull up 49 Terrapins' description here. I'm just curious, is this an old bot or a bot that's actively in development? But there we go. The main base is dead again. So I'll just pull that up now, and we can have a little read as Pigbot goes to work. Okay, AIarena.net still loading, so that might take a moment. Let's see here, the upper right. Okay, let's see. Let's find 49Terrapins. It's got to be active on the ladder if it. So that means the bot author is awake. It's programmed by Sahir, 49Terrapins, and that is the author of Micro Turtles and 72 Tortoises, which is. Okay, yes, Protot bot built from the dregs of 27 turtles and 72 tortoises. Uses Sharpie SC2, SC2 helper, combat sim. 49Terrapins going to try and rebuild once more. Oh my gosh, this is a longer game than I thought. It does eventually lose that Nexus in the upper right, though, and it should eventually get killed. If it just knew to stay hidden, it could have potentially rebuilt, but it kept showing itself. Yeah, 49Terrapins was last updated the 24th of December, 2024, so a bot just hanging out on the ladder. Definitely got some interesting behavior to it, and definitely a good opponent here for Pigbot. Pigbot's composition, though, and just its unit management is quite good, and yeah, I look forward to seeing how it develops. And that is it. GG. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.